morning, or depending when you're watching this, depending what time zone you're in, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, voice for radio. You know all of this, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Vault Tour live from Germany today, and I'm a little bit excited. Now, sorry, I'm a couple seconds late. For some reason, the Twitch over on my end was showing a blank screen, which seemed a little bit weird, but we redid it. We are good to go. If you could let me know in the chat that you can hear me and we are going and it's all good, I would be delighted. So what we have here is Zorn Lowrider Turborile on the left, which is a time traveler deck with 2 Effervescent Principle. That looks pretty good. And a Lash of Broken Dreams, all that good stuff. A Dis Logo Shadows deck. And on the right, we've got Visceratore Tritone Ref, a Logo Shadows Untamed deck with library access and bait and switch, although please do remember that both of those cards have actually been nerfed. Now, what is super weird here is that we're in a weird situation where we're in a free deck survival mode. And what that means is every player brings 3 decks and you have to win. Well, you basically have to win 4 out of 6 games. If you lose with all 3 decks, you are out. Every time you lose, your deck is eliminated, and you set the order of your deck at the beginning of the day. So what that means is you have a decks 1, 2, and 3. You have to play with deck 1 until you lose. You have to play with deck 2 until you lose, after you lose with deck 1. You then have to play with deck 3, and if you lose with deck 3, you're out. What is really interesting, however, is that if you make day 2, you make day 2 and you are locked into playing whichever deck you were playing at the end of day 1. So if deck 3 is your best deck, but you qualify for day 2 with deck 2, you have to play deck 2, even though deck 3 is your better deck. So it's a very strange situation where, and we will see this in survival tournaments, players might deliberately lose their last round so that they can manipulate it so that they are playing their preferred deck on day 2. It is a very strange format with an awful lot of strategy involved, and it's a kind of format that works so much better in Keyforge than it does in other games. It's one of the things that makes Keyforge amazing. So it looks like we are off. It looks like Jeff on the left. I know Jeff will tell some stories about him as we go through this game. Looks like he's gone first and played down a Dominator Bauble. Lets you use a friendly creature. That's pretty good. Visceratore goes first, and it looks like he's gotten down a card we don't see very often at all. Oh, and he's still going. So he's got himself a Neurosiphon. Does nothing but gets him the Amber bonus. And he is off, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited about just Vault Tours in general. It's just fun. Gonna be honest with you. It's just fun. I wanted to say that card was Mobius Scroll, but it's clearly not. Okay. So, Dust Pixie and double Big Twig. I don't think I've ever seen double Big Twig in a deck, if I'm honest with you. Now, I don't think I've got the right deck list for the player on the right, because there only appears to be 1 Big Twig on the deck list I've got, and he's clearly just played down 2 Big Twig. That's very strange. We'll see what we can get. I think we've got the wrong deck list for the deck on the right. Hey-ho. So Jeff has gone for a Shadows turn. He's got down a Magda the Rat. Or is that Magda the Rat? Or is it Selwyn the Fence? The something always confused me. It's Selwyn the Fence. But it doesn't matter because he ends his turn playing a Gateway to Dis. Destroy each creature, gain 3 chains. No. He's discarded a Gateway to this. Either way, Jeff's sitting there with 3 Amber. I'm sure that's a Mobius Scroll on Viscatore's side of the deck, but there's not apparently a Mobius Scroll in his list. So So it's all very confusing. Now, the good news is that we're getting a bunch of ghostly hand coming down here, which is getting himself some amber. And then Jeff, is that one of his effervescent principle? Yes, each player loses half their amber rounding down, gain a chain. So Jeff's got some chains going on, but that's a really good card in terms of just stopping your opponent being able to forge. So I'm just seeing what we can do in terms of getting the right deck list. I could be wrong, but I'm sure that deck list on the right is incorrect. Because hey-ho, right. We will carry on anyway, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be all right. So, he's managed to get himself a lot of amber. It looks like he's got a ghostly hand that he's played. Ghostly hand gets you a couple of amber. That's really good, although it doesn't say he's got ghostly hand in his deck. So something's going weird. The good news is he's sitting there with 7 amber. Now, there's a Quixo Adventurer on Jeff's side of the board that he's managed to throw down. When you fight, you draw a card, but yeah, just it's gone away. His opponent's just like, no, I'm not letting you keep that down. It's too good. Now, that was a Magda the Rat. When it leaves play, your opponent steals 2 amber. It's just left play. So Jeff's going to be stealing a couple of amber there. He played a Relentless Whispers, which was actually a really good way to get rid of it, because Relentless Whispers deals 2 damage to a creature. If you destroy it, you steal an amber. But because he destroyed Magda the Rat, he actually stole 3 amber. So now we're looking at Niccolo here, who's not even ready to forge, whereas he was a moment ago. So we've got a Wild Wormhole, gives you an amber bonus, lets you play the top card of your deck. It is a Skeleton Key, which is nice to kind of have down there. He's got himself a Quixo the Adventurer. Oh. It looks like what we got here. So, he's just showing kind of the Mobius scroll here. When it goes away, you get to archive. Well, you can archive it and some cards under it, and that's exactly what he's gone and done. Archiving is brilliant because it basically just lets you... Well, it basically lets you save cards for later, which is awesome. I love archiving. If you can pull it off correctly, you get yourself a huge advantage. So yeah, a Mobius scroll has an action that lets you archive it and 2 cards from your hand, which is exactly what he did. Okay, so we are back over to Jeff here now. And he's got himself, looks like a Shadows, no, it's a Dis turn. Oh, and he's getting down some creatures. This is lovely. He's got himself a Tentacus down. Your opponent must play an amber to use an artifact. There are a couple of artifacts on Niccolo's side of the field, so that's going to be good. Also got a Stealer of Souls. If a creature is destroyed fighting it, that creature gets purged. So that's kind of useful. Okay, so we are now back over to Niccolo. I mean, the good news is, although Jeff is on check here, but he hasn't forged a key, and Niccolo's only an amber behind. Now, he will need to get 1 amber away from Jeff, but as long as he can get 1 amber away, he'll be fine. The other artifact down, incidentally, is Spectral Tunneler. It's got an action that lets you give a creature... Well, it makes the creature into a flank creature and gives it the skill, when it reaps, draw a card. So we are over to Untamed here. And he's just returning creatures. So he's making Jeff shuffle a couple creatures into his hand while getting an amber bonus. That's really, really nice. It's just a really good way of getting rid of creatures. I mean, that Tentacus especially was looking... Well, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's looking kind of annoying. So that was Lost in the Woods. When you play it, you shuffle 2 friendly creatures and 2 enemy creatures into their owners' decks. But he's going for an Untamed turn here, Niccolo. And generally speaking, Untamed is not good at stopping your opponent forging. And that's what he really needs to do here. He needs to get Jeff off of forging. And he's not currently able to actually do that. And that's a little bit of a pain. See, Torres84, hello to Mexico. I don't think it's a very convenient time there, if I remember correctly. Hey-ho, glad you're up and watching with us. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, if you're watching on Twitch, all these games will go up on YouTube, so if you have to miss one, we can catch up. If you're watching on YouTube, because we're doing this live, it will occasionally sound a bit weird because I'm talking to the people live on the stream. So Jeff has managed to forge his first key. He ends his turn with a couple of amber, but then we see Niccolo coming in directly behind him, forging his first key, and this is beautiful. This is wonderful. Both players are having a good start. Both players are doing all right. Neither player's really built up a huge board advantage. We see a subtle maul coming down. It's got an action that lets you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Technically, you should put your artifacts down tilted to show that they are exhausted, but as long as he doesn't use it this turn, we'll forgive him. But neither player's got a huge advantage in terms of board state. And neither player has a huge advantage in terms of amber. I mean, nominally Jeff does have 2 more amber, but it doesn't really matter. Also, shout out to the lovely folks at Crazy Killing Machine. They are new content creators from the UK, lovely people, and they are providing the stream for me to commentate. When you're on YouTube, I'll pop a link to their channel in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Please make sure you check them out. They're Keyforge judges, lovely people. They're doing a lot of good to push the community forward. I can vouch for them being lovely people. And, I mean, they're streaming this for us and they're letting me commentate over it, so yeah, please make sure you check out Crazy Killing Machine. Those guys are awesome. Jeff, however, is checking out his Time Traveller. Help from Future South gives you an amber, finds a Time Traveller. Time Traveller gets you an amber and lets you draw 2 cards. And in a game with very little draw power, that can be huge. Now, it's only a single Time Traveller deck, but, you know, we can live with that. Now, okay, so we got another amber being generated here, which is rather nice, just helping himself get that little bit further on. Okay. And looks like we've just got a little bit of reaping. And then he's off. Now remember, he's reaping with Carlo Phantom there. Worth a quick reminder here that Carlo Phantom... No, I believe that was a phase shift? He's gone a bit fast, ladies and gentlemen. He's lost me a tiny bit. Good news is Jeff is ending with 5 amber. And then Niccolo here, well, he's got bait and switch does allow him to steal a couple of amber. Were this pre-errata, he'd be stealing 3 amber. Unfortunately, only 2. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit sad. Now, we've got a little bit of jitteriness coming on the stream. I don't believe that's my end. So we are discarding a random card from Jeff's hand using Subtle Maul. I mean, Subtle Maul is not some groundbreaking card, but it's just quite nice that once during your Shadow's turn, you can just make your opponent discard a card from their hand. Now, Jeff's actually got himself a big, long stream of artifacts there. He's got himself a Seeker Needle down. He's got himself a Dominator Bauble down. He's got a Lash of Broken Dreams. He's got a Life Word. He's doing very, very well indeed. And he's up by a key. Now, the good news is that Niccolo is now up to 7 amber, and that's rather nice. And he's got himself a Lab Work, which is, well, that's kind of handy. Lets you archive a card. Basically, you're stashing a card in your hand for later, which is very, very useful in terms of just, well, it basically guarantees that you've got the card you want when you want it, which is wonderful. This gives you a huge advantage. Now, Jeff has got an old Bruno there, which captured 3 amber when it came in. What would be awesome for Niccolo here is if he was able to destroy that old Bruno. He'd actually get that free captured amber back, put himself in a really good position in terms of forging. He's also got a Taliga down, so every time his opponent plays a creature, he gets an amber. So Jeff really is going to need to try and get rid of it in order to, well, start playing creatures again. Now, he has sacrificed Life Word, which means his opponent cannot play creatures on his next turn. And he's just playing down a Twin Bolt Emission there. Just get some damage on the board. 2 damage to 2 different creatures. What he really needs to do is take out that Taliga. That's the goal here. If he can take out the Taliga, then he's going to be able to play creatures. Now he's got remote access going on there. Lets him essentially use his opponent's artifact and then destroy it, I believe. No, just use it as if it was his. I believe he just copied the Library of Babel there to draw a card. But it's still nice to draw cards. Okay. So, Jeff's still working through those chains. I believe he's now run out. He's had a bunch of cards, has Jeff, that bring in the chains with him. So, it's quite nice that he seems to be able to get off of his chains eventually. Okay. Dare I say it, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we might have gotten over the stumble from before. Although when I'm uploading this to YouTube, I've cut out the stumble, so you'll never know. Hey-ho. Jeff's in a very good position here. Now, it looks like he's got himself 3 amber, unless that's off to the side. He's got 2 keys forged. Now, to be fair, yeah, and he has stopped Niccolo forging here. Oh. Now, the good news is he's able to make Jeff pick up his old Bruno. And remember, when a creature with captured amber is removed from the field, whether it's destroyed, picked up, whatever, it goes into the owner's hand. And then, the captured amber goes to the other player. Okay, so we see a Dew Fairy coming down here. It's not exactly the best card. I think it's fine. Dew Fairy, when you reap, you gain an extra amber. But Jeff's just like, mate, there's no way I'm going to let you do that. Oh, and it looked like Jeff was bored of having no chains. So he plays a gateway to this, gets rid of all of Niccolo's creatures, gets himself 3 chains in the process, but then he's able to play down some of his own creatures. He gets himself a Shaffles. At the end of your turn, your opponent loses an amber. And he gets himself down a Tentacus. Your opponent must pay you 1 amber in order to use an artifact. So, now we do see Silvertooth and Urchin coming down. Urchin steals an amber. Silvertooth comes into play ready. And it looks like we also got Pawn Sacrifice. Sacrifice a friendly creature. He sacrificed the Urchin. Deal 3 damage to each of 2 creatures. Got Shaffles off the board, and Shaffles is super annoying. At the end of Jeff's turn, Niccolo has to lose an amber. That's, well, it's far from ideal, ladies and gentlemen, I think would be a polite way to put it. It's far from ideal. So, we see Subtle Maul being used here, which again just discards a random card from Jeff's hand. Some people you do see using dice here when they've got 6 cards in hand. Jeff, of course, only has 5 cards in hand. He is chained from his Gateway to Dis. Incidentally, Jeff actually has 2 copies of Gateway to Dis in his deck, and a couple other cards that can give him chains. So that's why we see Jeff with so many chains going on here. But Jeff is still in an excellent position. Now, it looks like Niccolo's going to forge next turn. Jeff does use his Lash of Broken Dreams. That won't actually be enough to stop Niccolo forging. It will mean that Niccolo has to forge for 9 amber, but he does have 9 amber. The thing is, even though Niccolo is forging a key here, and yeah, it's slightly inconvenient, he's still having to pay 9 to forge. So he's still 3 amber down. So rather than forging, he hasn't flipped over his key there, but he has given up his amber. So I'm fairly sure here that he has forged his second key. Even though he has forged his second key, he should be halfway to forging his third key. He should have 3 amber kind of sitting down there ready. And as it stands, he has none. Absolutely none. So we are back again, ladies and gentlemen. We do have the stream back. Jeff's got 2 keys. Niccolo's got 2 keys and 7 amber. Jeff's got 5 amber, which means Jeff is not going to be forging at the beginning of his turn to win the game. Niccolo, however, is on check. So as it stands at the moment, Niccolo is in a really good position in terms of he is ahead in the game, and Jeff's really been ahead for most of this game. Jeff has been in the driver's seat, and Jeff's got what looks like 6 artifacts down. No, 5 artifacts down. Lash of Broken Dreams, Dominator Bauble, Seeker Needle, Library of Babel, and other. Now we are on a logos turn here for Niccolo. He gets down a Quixo the Adventurer. He's got himself 8 amber. He uses Library of Babel to draw a card. Unfortunately draws a ghostly hand. And unless he's got phase shift, alas no. He does actually have 3 Wild Wormhole in his deck. Doesn't have library access, as I stated earlier, unfortunately. Like I said, for the beginning of the game, we were rolling with the wrong deck list. But it's round 1. There's always teething problems with round 1. I lagged a bit, and then the stream cut off on their end, and we had the wrong deck list. These things happen on round 1. Rounds 2 and 3 are going to be so much better. So Jeff here is just... Okay, so we've got Gateway to This coming down. Again. That's like the 3rd time he's played that. The thing is, we got Lash of Broken Dreams. All right. So... he's not in a great position, but Jeff's done what he needed to do. He has made sure that Niccolo's keys cost 9. Niccolo doesn't have 9 amber. Jeff has 6 amber. He is still in a precarious position. Niccolo is still very much in the driver's seat for this game. Make no mistake about that. Now, Magda the Rat comes down, steals a couple of amber, and the problem now is that Niccolo's actually on 10 amber, so Jeff using a Lash of Broken Dreams isn't going to be able to do much. And here's the problem. One of the problems for... Oh, that would have been a nice card. Only steals 2, but it would have stolen 2. The problem for Jeff is that he's been chained most of this game. He's been drawing 1 fewer card, and Niccolo has had that subtle maul, and Jeff just concedes. Niccolo's got too much amber. Jeff concedes. Quite a well-known player for so young a game. A good deck, but unfortunately, although he was ahead for most of the game, he wasn't able to pull it out in the end, and Niccolo goes on to round 2. Now remember, Jeff also goes on to round 2, but Zorn Lowrider Turbo Ryle is now out of the tournament. There will be no Zorn Lowrider Turbo Ryle for the rest of this tournament. Jeff now is down to deck 2, and if Jeff takes 2 more losses, he will not be in day 2. Niccolo has got 1 of the 4 wins he needs. Remember, just as a reminder at the end of this round, we are in 3 deck survival. You bring 3 decks, there are 6 rounds. You set the order of your decks before the tournament begins. Every time you lose, your deck is retired from the tournament and you have to pick... Well, you have to go on to the next deck. You set your order at the start. You do not get to rearrange it. And then, once you've lost of all 3 decks, you are out. So I don't think we've seen the last of Jeff. I actually met Jeff in Birmingham, and let's just say we played in a sealed event and I didn't forge a key, and it was embarrassing. In my defense, right, my sealed deck was trash. It's one of the worst decks I've ever opened, but Jeff rolled me in like 5 minutes flat, 3 keys to 0. Lovely dude, though. Chatted to him quite a lot through Birmingham. I'm afraid I don't know Niccolo. I've not met him, but I'm sure lovely, lovely dude regardless. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that was round 1. We got there in the end. It wasn't the smoothest round we've ever had, but I think we did alright. So, what we're going to do now, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I need to go and check on my baby daughter, make sure she's alright. I'm on... Oh, if you're on the YouTube, by the way, comment, like, subscribe, at the Wossy on Twitter. You know the deal. Cheers for watching. Look after yourselves. Till next time.